Thank you for staying with us. This time we're going to have a conversation with the Director General of the Industrial Training Fund, which is a Grade A parastatal under the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. It was established about 49 years ago, precisely on the 8th of October 1971 by Decree 47 as amended up to date. It is vested with the mandate to provide, promote, and encourage the acquisition of skills in industries and commerce with a view to generate a pool of indigenous trained manpower sufficient to meet the needs of the national economy. Well, the Director General, Sir Joseph Ntung Ari, joins us to talk about this agency. Thank you for joining us, Sir Ari.
Thank you very much, Neota and Alero. Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's start out with your tenure will elapse soon, your first tenure. What do you consider to be your key achievements?
Well, thank you very much, Neota, for your question. It is quite true that my tenure will lapse soon. You may also be aware that I was appointed Director General, Chief Executive of the Industrial Training Fund by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, on the 26th of September 2016. And for an initial 4-year term of office, which will also elapse on the same date this year. With regards to our achievements, I would like to say that I personally think we have performed creditably well, given the situation we met on ground on assumption of duty. When we came on board, the organization we met on ground was one that could be said to be in doldrums, as it was blighted by several internal and external challenges. The workforce was restive, and they were also at daggers drawn with management, just as other stakeholders and clientele were openly expressing dissatisfaction with the services of the fund. So what we did immediately on assumption was to put our heads together and set up a committee to review the fund's mandate and its operations. And in doing that, we came up with a comprehensive and robust policy document known as the ITF Reviewed Vision Strategies for Mandate Actualization. In this document, which was meant to commence from 2016 and terminate in 2022, we had short-term, medium, and long-term goals. And the 6-year plan, which had these goals, was meant to address 3 key issues: the impartation of skills to Nigerians, the addressing of service challenges, as well as also tackling some infrastructural deficit. And so based on these objectives, I can convincingly and unequivocally say that we have done excellently well. For example, regarding the impartation of vocational skills or the requisite skills to Nigerians, we were able within this period to equip Nigerians up to about 500,000, over 500,000 of Nigerians with requisite skills for employability and entrepreneurship. And from our monitoring and evaluation, as well as our tracking systems, I can attest to you that we've been able to identify that over 80% of these Nigerians have either been able to set up on their own as employers of labor or entrepreneurs, or have become very useful in their paid employment. And also, in order to address and achieve these goals as contained in a policy document, we equally expanded the existing skills acquisition programs, and we introduced several other new initiatives. Another achievement which I consider cogent also would be the reduction in infrastructure deficits. To that extent, we were able to identify that a lot of abandoned projects were left lying fallow by past administrations. And so we were able to complete them. In the first quarter of this year, 6 of them were commissioned by our honorable ministers, Otumba Richard Adeni Adebayo, CON, and Ambassador Mariam Yalwaji Katagum. And as I speak with you, we have already completed 7 additional projects that are ready for commissioning before the end of this year. We also established area offices within this period at Rumokota in Rivers State, at Abakaliki in Ebonyi State, at Badagry in Lagos, at Gwagwalada in Abuja, and we equally upgraded the Lafia Collection Center to be a full-fledged area office. So we believe that for us to achieve...
Sorry, permit me to come in here. If we allow you to go on with the achievement, we might not be able to ask any other question today. So let's just see if we can chip in a couple of questions. You've talked about, so if I was going to score you on a scale of 10 over 10, what would it be?
Scale of...
Nyota, this is a rather tricky question to answer, as human beings are meant or are sometimes subjective when asked to assess themselves. Nevertheless, as an organization with huge clientele, feedbacks to us are very important. And from the feedbacks that we have received and the impression of our clients, I can confidently say, that the impact has been positive both on the economy and on the people of Nigeria as a nation. Indeed, in appreciation of the services of the fund within this period, the ITF was named as a star partner, regarding the micro, small, and medium enterprises development in Nigeria. Again, in 2019, precisely in August 2019, the ITF again received the Award of Excellence for Outstanding MSMEs Clinic Partner by the federal government. And that certificate itself was signed by the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, GCON. And so in direct answer to your question, I would give ourselves a modest 8, even though some other people would score us higher.
Sorry, if I was a lecturer or a teacher, I'll be wondering why you'd be giving yourself 8, since I am supposed to be the invigilator of this exam. But let's put that to one side and look at something else. You were talking about tracking and monitoring system. I would really like to find out how that works, because you talked about the number of people that have been skills have been imparted to and how this is impacting on the economy. You give yourself 8 over 10. But how do you track and monitor to ensure that the skills that are imparted are imbibed and they are being used, and effectively so?
Thank you very much. The ITF prides itself as a 3 E's organization. The first E is the fact that it has an expansive network. The second E is that the workforce is experienced, and so we have great expertise, which is the third E. And so with the expansive network, you find us in 44 area offices across the country, one of the key federal government agencies with such a spread. And so it is easier to link up with those we train. Secondly, we are in great partnership, thanks be to God, to the ease of doing business policy of the federal government under President Muhammadu Buhari. We have handshake with many organizations, including also the state governments. And so we go down, and in our own information management system in the organization, since the automation of business processes is part of our idea. We are able to easily get across to all the trainees using the area offices in these 44 locations and getting all the contacts. By the way, by the time we train Nigerians, we're able to have their contacts, their addresses, phone numbers, account details, etc., etc. And so it's very easy to track them and to see how they fare. Another thing that makes it very plausible for us to access contacts with them is the fact that we're able to form our trainees into cooperatives. And the essence is to drive it to another level of a program that is under the aegis of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, known as NEDEP. NEDEP goes for National Enterprise Development Program. And in that program, the ITF takes care of the skills component. SMIDAN takes care of the cooperatives, and Bank of Industry does the financing. So this tripartite arrangement makes it very possible for entrepreneurs to grow in their businesses.
Now, Sir Harry, the federal government recently came out with the Nigeria Economic Sustainability Plan. Where does ITF fit in all of this? And what's the role of ITF?
Thank you very much, Alero. The Nigerian Economic Sustainability Plan is also part of the federal government's response to this noisome pestilence of COVID-19 on the economy, on the people, and on governments generally, not just particular or peculiar to Nigeria, but the world over, as we have seen. And from that document, there are 9 key result areas that come to the fore, including also structural vulnerability, the real sector measures, and so on and so forth. But when we took a look at the 9 components in the sustainability plan, we discovered that they have direct bearing even on the mandate of the ITF. I give you an example on the agribusiness and all the agricultural value chain. The ITF had already, in the new document that we developed recently, identified that. And as a matter of fact, we had sent our staff, 60 of them, to the Galilee International Management Institute in Israel. And they had already come back with all of them trained in the various agricultural value chain, be it crop production, international marketing, storage, manure, and so on and so forth. And so we had already set in motion, initiatives to use the arable land of the ITF in the various states of the Federation to have some kind of greenhouses approach in our training, the extension system. And therefore, the federal government's sustainability plan comes in handy and readily available for us to actualize our mandate. So we are on course with the federal government's initiative. Like I said, the direction given by the federal government under President Muhammadu Buhari is the direction to go. The socio-economic diversification and industrialization policy. It creates a clear pathway for an enabling environment in business to survive. And in our own case, we discovered that we are in tandem with the federal government. And so the bulk of that sustainability plan has direct bearing on our mandate. And the ITF has already been proactive in setting in place, some steps and initiatives to address, the pandemic or the challenges caused by the pandemic.
Let's begin to wind down this conversation here. But you had a skills summit. One will be wondering why you'll be putting together a skills summit. But okay, so you did, and it's the first one at that. Were you satisfied with the outcome of that summit? And what are you going to do with the results you got from that, you pulled from there?
Yeah, Nyota, it is true. Precisely on the 12th of March this year, we organized the first ever skills summit in Nigeria, and at the Eradua Center in Abuja. And the essence of that was to bring in all the experts of skills development, be they in the academia, in private and public sectors of our economy. And the reason why that was done was because we realized that we were operating in silos. All the components and the experts of skills development were operating at disparate levels. And therefore, we've not had the desired impact to translate into concrete reality for our economy and for our people. And like I said, the Skills Summit, which was the first of its kind, was intended, therefore, to provide a veritable platform, to articulate specific strategies for developing employable skills in our country, to apply best practices in aspects of skills development, to spotlight, some topical issues, and to ensure that we generally harmonize our operations so that Nigeria will be the better for it. And going by with regards to your second question, I would say that we were very impressed with the outcome of the summit, as it had in attendance the Vice President of the Federal Republic, who was ably represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, our two ministers, Otumba Richard Adeni Adebayo, CON, and Ambassador Mariam Katagum were there, as well as the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohamed Bello. They were all there. Experts from the academia, from various institutions of technical and vocational skills were there. And I have no doubt in my mind that from what came out of that summit, we are on the right path towards economic recovery and growth. For example, we agreed at that summit that there was need to register Nigeria in the World Skills Competition. It is a sad commentary that up till now, Nigeria is not yet a member of the World Skills Competition. And there are many benefits derivable from being a member of such a body. And so these are also some of the goodies thrown up by that summit. And once Nigeria becomes a member of the World Skills Competition or skills body, we are able to leverage and benchmark the current trends in skills development across the globe. And
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Sir Joseph N. Ari. I'm sure if we had the whole day, we will not have enough time to talk about all that ITF has been able to achieve. But you have someone, let me just read this to you. John Eko Ugiagbe is recommending you for a next level of appointment. He says you've done a good job. He's one of the trainees at the ITF, John Eko Ugiagbe. Well done, Sir Joseph Ntung Ari, who's the Director General of the Industrial Training Fund. Thank you for sharing your morning with Sunrise today.
My pleasure having me.
All right, Sunrise, we'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us.